Coming up on Chapman News, updates on the accidental shootings of Helena Hutchins. What went wrong, how she will be remembered, and what changes we could see.
Still no deal with Democrats on the Build Back Better plan. Will they ever agree?
And young kids are all set to get their COVID vaccinations. Why are some parents crying foul? All that and more this week on Chapman News.
From Dodge College of Film and Media Arts, this is Chapman News.
Good afternoon and welcome to this week's episode of Chapman News. I'm Promise Johnson.
And I'm Danielle Burke-North. We begin today with the latest on the shootings on LA set in Santa Fe. We have team coverage, Luca Evans on the investigation, and Barbara Fox on what it means for gun safety on sets at Dodge. Today, we're hearing for the first time from Hannah Gutierrez-Reed, who is in charge of all weapons for the movie Rust. Through her lawyers, she says she has no idea how live ammunition got into the set. She also says she was hired to do 2 jobs, and that made it difficult to focus on her role as armorer. Luca Evans gives us the latest on the investigation.
Bonanza Creek Ranch has had 2 people accidentally shot on a movie set by a prop gun. We need help immediately. Good. Everybody should be. We need some help. Our director and our camerawoman has been shot.
The Santa Fe County Sheriff now says the bullets that killed cinematographer Helena Hutchins and injured director Joel Souza on the set of Rust were live rounds, not blanks.
Well, I think the facts are clear. A weapon was handed to Mr. Baldwin. The weapon is functional and fired a live round, killing Ms. Hutchins and injuring Mr. Souza.
The roles of Assistant Director Dave Halls and armorer Hannah Reed Gutierrez in the shooting are being investigated. Halls yelled "cold gun" before handing the prop gun to Alec Baldwin, but the New York Times is reporting that Halls didn't thoroughly check the gun he handed Baldwin, according to an affidavit. Multiple guns and 500 rounds of ammunition were found on set. Halls was fired from a 2019 movie set because of complaints about his lax attitude on safety. Reed Gutierrez, meanwhile, had reportedly mishandled guns on a previous film. Emmy Award-winning actor Baldwin tweeted that he was fully complying with the police investigation. While no criminal charges have been filed yet, Baldwin and other executive producers will certainly face civil charges and could be charged criminally as well. Some, like film colorist Anastasia Shepard, a member of the International Alliance of Theatrical Stage Employees, say Baldwin does bear some responsibility.
Because he was the one financing it, and because he's such a big-name actor, he could have stopped it at any time. And I know that's something he's going to have to live with.
It's Sunday night and we're here at a candlelight vigil in Burbank hosted by a Yahtzee in remembrance of Helena Hutchins. At peak time, you can see this crowd behind me. It was about hundreds of people in this parking lot, all gathered to remember an artist, a mother, and someone that some feel died because of preventable safety concerns in the film industry. We spoke to multiple IATSE members at the vigil who felt Hutchins' death came in part because of ongoing issues such as long hours on set, poor working conditions, and a lack of safety protocols. Earlier this month, IATSE members nearly went on strike over these issues. Script coordinator Amy Thurlow said she once walked off a set because there was no supervision for a child on it.
I think this culture and this mentality of it's so great that we were able to shoot in fewer days and that we worked harder to get more done, I think that has to go away. Makeup artist Robin Slater, who had previously worked with Hutchins, noted some members of the Rust crew had walked off the set before the shooting after complaining about pay and housing. Slater said Hutchins likely felt compelled to stay and see her vision through.
There were so many red flags, but at what point does everybody say enough? Now?
While the investigation continues, it does seem the tragedy could have a lasting impact on TV and film sets, with everyone in front of and behind the camera now focused on safety and making sure something like this doesn't happen again. For Chapman News, I'm Luca Evans.
As Luca mentioned, the incident brought up many questions about film safety when it comes to guns.
Barbara Fox joins us now to discuss safety precautions that take place at Dodge, some of which may be implemented nationwide after the incident. Barbara?
Thanks, guys. I've talked to many students and faculty at Dodge about these safety protocols, and indeed, some are looking to Dodge College for advice on working with guns on set. The accidental shooting death of cinematographer Helena Hutchins during rehearsals for the movie Rust is sparking debate in Hollywood about the issue of safety on sets. The issue of gun safety has a very special meaning here at Dodge College, where over 100 films are made every year in studios like this. William Dill, a cinematography professor at Dodge, had Helena Hutchins as a student at the American Film Institute a few years ago. He says her death hit a little closer to home.
It's bad enough that it happens to anybody. But when it's someone who was in your class, and I can go back and look at the notes that I wrote about her films, it on a just purely human level, it hits you like a baseball bat.
Standard film safety protocols indicate that weapons must be overseen by licensed armorers, and performers must be trained in gun safety. Real guns on movie sets are often filled with blanks, but the Rust gun somehow contained a lethal amount of live ammunition. Many filmmakers are now debating on whether guns should even be allowed on film sets to begin with. Dill says there's no need for real guns and ammo on set.
I've heard people say that, they really want to hear the loud bang of the gun because you can see it on the actor's faces. Well, that's what acting's for.
However, Dill is confident that this would never happen on a film set at Dodge College due to the safety protocols that are already in place.
We don't allow real guns. We use CG to create muzzle flashes and smoke and whatever other effects you want from the weapon.
Bianca Roth, a television writing and production major at Dodge College, notes that the movie industry is a business and that making films more safe will cost more money.
People, I think, are going to catch on, and I think that, yes, it might cost more money, but it's like, would you rather spend money or would you rather put people's lives at stake?
However, the incident is now prompting possible new laws in California relating to having real guns on film sets. Dave Cortez, a California state senator, is planning to introduce a bill that would ban live ammunition and real guns on movie sets.
There's no way that a live round like that would be allowed in any other kind of a workplace. It just wouldn't. And for some reason, this industry hasn't been regulated that way.
Professor Dill says that the incident shows that while movies may look glamorous on screen, off screen, they can be quite dangerous working environments. For Chapman News, I'm Barbara Fox.
Wow. Knowing all of these precautions are in place makes me feel better about student safety.
Yes, I totally agree. Barbara, if Dodge film sets don't use real guns, then why is there pushback other productions about their use?
That's a great question. Many old school producers and directors like the true reaction shot of the actor reacting to the gun going off. But like Bill Dill mentioned in my interview, there is technology to put in sound effects after the film is made to make it look real.
Wow, that's crazy how much technology has advanced.
I know Dodge films are highly professional looking, and I can't tell that a fake gun was used on any student film I watch. Thank you, Barbara, for joining us on set today.
Of course, and remember, stay safe on set.
A record increase in hate crimes last year. According to the FBI, crimes against Asian Americans increased by 73%. That's the highest number recorded in over 2 decades, the last major spike being in 2008. Authorities say Asians were targeted because they are thought to be responsible for the COVID pandemic. More trouble for New York's ex-governor Andrew Cuomo. He was charged this week with a misdemeanor sex crime for allegedly groping a female aide's breast while inside the executive mansion. Cuomo could get up to a year in jail if convicted.
President Biden is in Rome today. After an audience with the Pope, he then went to the French embassy to meet with French President Macron. The two world leaders met to try to patch up relations after a dust-up over the sale of submarines. The French were planning on selling nuclear subs to the U.S., then the U.S. backed out without telling the French. Sounds like they'll patch things up. Meanwhile, back home, there's still no agreement on the spending bills.
Peyton Bell joins us now to tell us about the latest updates on what could be the biggest social spending bill in history. Peyton, do you see this bill passing soon?
Well, the compromise is making moderates happy, but it's still angering progressives. President Biden started Thursday with an early morning visit to Capitol Hill, where he again made his case for his $1.85 trillion social spending and climate package.
No one got everything they wanted, including me. But that's what compromise is.
As a result of that compromise, key provisions were eliminated. It omits what would have been the nation's first federally funded paid family and medical leave. It omits free community college. It omits a proposal that would have lowered prescription drug prices. And it would expand Medicare coverage to include hearing, but not vision or dental services.
So many people, yes, no, doing the hokey pokey, 1 foot in, 1 foot out. So we need certainty.
Top executives from ExxonMobil, Shell, Chevron, and BP testified Thursday on Capitol Hill. The hearings mark the first time oil executives were pressed to answer questions under oath about climate change. Let's watch as California Representative Katie Porter takes the president of Shell to school on the issue of greenwashing.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We've heard a lot about future plans for investment in renewable energy today. Ms. Watkins, Shell's 2020 annual report called for between $19 and $22 billion in near-term spending. I'm representing that with this container of M&Ms. Each M&M represents about $50 million in spending. Ms. Watkins, how much has Shell said it will spend in the near term on oil, gas, and chemical operations?
I think you just said we're going to be spending between $18 and $20 billion this year.
That's near term. On total spending, how much on oil, gas, and chemical operations?
We're going to be spending.
Well, according to your annual report, you said you're going to spend 16 to 17 billion for oil, gas, and chemical, with another $3 billion for marketing. How much is Shell spending to spend on renewable energy?
This year, we'll be spending between $2 and $3 billion.
$2 and $3 billion on renewables and energy solutions. In your testimony, you said, quote, meeting the demand for reliable energy while simultaneously addressing climate change is a huge undertaking and one of the defining challenges of our time. Shell has made these promises before. Shell pledged to spend $6 billion between 2017 and 2020 on renewable energy. How much of that did Shell actually spend? The answer is about half. Ms. Watkins, does this look like a huge undertaking to you?
It's amazing what you can do with a bunch of M&Ms. I'm Peyton Bell. Now on to Adrian with our COVID update.
Thanks, Peyton. COVID vaccines for kids are just around the corner, but there are still some hurdles to follow. I'll tell you all about them after the break.
And NorCal is cleaning up after a massive bomb cyclone. When we come back, I'll tell you the latest and your 7-day forecast.
Okay, Daddy, Dr. Elmo says you're healthy.
Oh, well, thank you. Our children and families want us to be healthy. That's why I and lots of other grown-ups got the COVID-19 vaccine, so we can stay healthy and get back to the moments we miss, like seeing our friends and family.
Here you go, Daddy. For a healthy checkup, a sticker.
Oh, thanks, son.
With free COVID-19 vaccines, sunnier days are ahead. Visit getvaccineanswers.org.
COVID vaccines for kids are finally around the corner and could be available as soon as next week.
Adrian Mitchell is here to tell us more about the latest breakthrough in ending the pandemic.
That is, if parents actually listen to the experts. However, before we tackle that can of worms, we need to approve the vaccines first. Pfizer vaccines for children ages 5 to 11 may be available as early as next week. A panel of FDA advisors recommends the vaccine, with 17 committee members voting in favor and 1 abstaining. Pediatric vaccine approval is critical, as thousands of children within the age group have been hospitalized with COVID, and nearly 100 have died over the course of the pandemic.
This would be one significant step forward in getting our country really in a better place.
The FDA typically follows the advice of its advisory panel, and then the CDC votes. Federal officers say if Pfizer pediatric vaccines are authorized, 15 million doses will immediately be shipped for distribution. The Kaiser Family Foundation found about a third of parents with elementary school kids who were surveyed say they are eager to vaccinate their children right away. Dr. Anthony Fauci says COVID vaccinations for children 5 and up could begin very soon.
It's entirely possible, if not very likely, that vaccines will be available for children from 5 to 11 within the first week or two of November.
This means that by the holidays, children could be fully vaccinated. However, in that same survey, it was found that 1/3 of all parents surveyed were against vaccinating their children at this time. Chamberlain Fairley has more on these protesting parents.
Parents opposed to a COVID vaccine mandate for kids have been protesting outside of local schools. But with most school districts now planning to require that students and teachers get vaccinated, parents say their concerns are being ignored. Those parents are taking to social media, starting their own grassroots organization called Moms on the Ground. Since it began just 3 weeks ago, the group has gained nearly 25,000 followers. I spoke with one of the founding mothers, Heather Puhek, who says that these parents are not anti-vaxxers. She says the COVID vaccine mandate does not feel warranted, and it is too soon to require it because studies have not been done on the long-term effects on kids.
And because, for the most part, they're not at a risk for death or really severe health reactions to COVID, then we feel like it's really important that we be able to make that choice for our children.
Infectious disease expert Jerica Lamb responded to parents' concerns in an email saying that more than 8,300 children have been hospitalized and 94 of them have died due to COVID. Additionally, the Pfizer vaccine trial found that common reactions were mild to moderate in children, similar to what adults experienced in the COVID-19 vaccine trials. Serious adverse effects like myocarditis and anaphylaxis were not observed in children during the trials. It is not only parents who are protesting. Some school staff and teachers say it's about choice.
We should just have our own choice. We're not, like most of the people in the group like me are not even vaccinated for a lot of things. We're not against it necessarily. We just want the choice to choose if we did or not.
Despite the protests, now that the FDA advisory panel has given the green light on the Pfizer vaccine for kids ages 5 to 11, we are still expecting to see this age group getting vaccinated as early as next month. I'm Chamberlain Fairley for Chapman News.
In other news, Governor Gavin Newsom received his Moderna booster. Newsom was originally vaccinated with Johnson & Johnson. This has been your COVID Report. I'm Adrienne Mitchell. Back to you guys.
Facebook's parent company is changing its name to Meta to go alongside its metaverse vision. Zuckerberg, the new CEO of Meta, says this rebrand helps to show how their company will be the future of the internet. But that's not the only reason the company is in the news. Documents released on Monday, known as the Facebook Papers, covered controversial topics from the spread of information in the January 6 riots to last year's presidential election. Zuckerberg says the allegations are mischaracterizing Facebook.
Good faith criticism helps us get better. But my view is that what we are seeing is a coordinated effort to selectively use leaked documents to paint a false picture of our company.
After the recent leaked information, Zuckerberg was kicked off the company's quarterly earnings.
Doctors are reporting some young women are developing Tourette's-like tics, and that is because of the hours they spend on TikTok. The number of patients diagnosed with these facial tics has skyrocketed over the last year. That coincides with the big growth in popularity experienced by TikTok during the pandemic. A TikTok spokeswoman says user safety is a priority and that TikTok is consulting with industry experts to understand more about the issue.
This week began recovery efforts for the bomb cyclone that hit Northern California.
Our Tiffany Chen is in the Weather Center with the latest updates on the storm. Tiffany?
Northern California was hit this week with the worst weather it's seen in years. A storm called a bomb cyclone left behind major damage. Luckily, Southern California was not affected except for a day of showers. Earlier this week, heavy rainfall and damaging winds hit Northern California, causing flooding, landslides, road closures, and power outages. Sacramento had a 24-hour rainfall record of almost 5.5 inches. The previous record was set in 1880. There was a massive landslide on a section of Highway 70 on Monday, while flooding on other parts of the highway resulted in its temporary closure between Jarbo Gap to Greenville Y, about 170 miles northeast of San Francisco. The heavy rainfall comes during the still active wildfire season in California. Debris and mudslides formed on burnt scars from the Dixie Fire, the second largest wildfire in U.S. history. The good news is that the fire has now been 100% contained thanks to the rainstorm. But experts also say that land burned by wildfires lacks vegetation and can't absorb water from rainfall, which makes them more vulnerable to flooding. It is not clear when Highway 70 will open again entirely, but if you live in an area that has been impacted, the California Department of Transportation is urging people to check quickmap.ca.gov for updates on road closures. To ensure the public safety, the department has also started trending the hashtag #KnowBeforeYouGo on Twitter. Now let's take a look at our weather forecast. Here in Orange, it's 81 degrees, nice and sunny out, so make sure to go and enjoy some sun while you can, as the weather will get colder towards the end of the day. Now let's take a look at our national forecast. Up in the West Coast in Seattle, it's very cold at 49 degrees with some heavy rainfall, and there is a river flood warning that will last until Saturday, so take precaution. Down in San Francisco, it's 61 degrees, getting a little warmer, and if you're going to be placing bets in Sin City this weekend, it'll be a warm 75 degrees. It's 64 degrees in Denver, Colorado, so now let's take a look at the East Coast. It looks like the weather will mostly be rainy and windy, so make sure to bundle up and stay dry. Up in New York, it's 55 degrees with some wind, and down in Washington, D.C., 60 degrees with a coastal flood warning lasting until Sunday. In Minneapolis, it's 51 degrees, and in Chicago, Illinois, 59 degrees with some rain and wind. Down in Atlanta, it's 54 degrees, and in Austin, Texas, 69. And for my folks in Miami, it'll be 82 degrees, nice and warm. Now let's take a look at our local Orange County forecast. It's the hottest right now in both Orange and Irvine at 81 degrees, but Westminster follows closely behind at 79 degrees. It's 80 degrees right now in Mission Viejo and 72 in San Clemente. Now on the coast, the temperatures are getting slightly cooler, 72 in Newport Beach and 73 in Laguna Beach. Now let's take a look at our 7-day forecast. It looks like we have a mostly sunny and cloudy week ahead of us. Today the high is 86, and throughout the week we can expect the highs to remain from 72 to 76. Saturday, it'll be 76 degrees, 72 on Sunday, Monday, 70 degrees, 72 on Tuesday, 73 on Wednesday, and 72 on Thursday. The low for today is 58 degrees, and we can expect the lows to range from 54 to 57 degrees throughout the week. That's your weather for this week. I'm Tiffany Chen.
David Rontaler here, and after the break, I'll tell you about the records Chapman athletes just broke and more with this on this week's Best Campus Sports Show.
When times get dark, we can't see the help that's all around us. Let 211 be your guiding light for help with food, healthcare, and other resources.
211, how can I help you?
Call 211 or visit 211.org. 211, get connected, get help.
Promise, have you been paying attention to how well our sports teams are doing?
Yes, I watch all the football games on CSBN, and it seems like we've got some record breakers this season.
We have quite a few, actually. David Rontaler is here to tell us in this week's edition of the Best Campus Sports Show.
Take it away, David.
Thanks, guys. Hello, everyone. I'm David Rontaler, and welcome back to the Best Campus Sports Show. Now, I know you were hoping for some coach drama this week, but actually we have some other news to report on. Starting off with Chapman Athletics recap. The SIAC tournament and championship approaches as Chapman Athletics gets closer to the end of the fall season. This week, both men and women's soccer are a step closer to locking in their spots in the SIAC tournaments, as both are sitting in third in their league standings. That means that this weekend's games will be the deciding factor on who will move on and who will go home. Another team counting on a win this weekend is Chapman Volleyball, as they're sitting in third place in their conference. Breaking this third-place streak is the football team, who is sitting second in the conference and is hoping to secure that first place this weekend against number 5 in the league, Pomona-Pitzer. The reigning conference champions are coming off a close loss to Redlands and are nearing the end of their season. This fall season will be one to remember as athletes finally resume the sports they love, and for some, not only resuming them, but also making moves in Chapman legacy as well. Anna Montemore has more.
Star senior football player Dylan Keefe has had a successful ride here at Chapman. Keefe knew the season was his last chance to end with a bang, and he did just that.
I feel like, for me personally, breaking that tackle for loss record was sort of a cherry on top to what we've done.
The reigning conference champs are sitting at second in the league and hope to win the title again this year. And Keefe wasn't the only athlete who found success this fall season.
When I came around the corner, I saw the clock and I was like, okay, I think I'm going to do it. And then when I crossed the finish line, I saw 25:53 and I just threw my hands up and I had just this complete shocking face, look where I was just like, oh my gosh, I did it.
Junior cross-country runner Anthony Hart was just excited to get back into things after COVID. Little did he know that breaking a school record would be one of those things.
In cross-country, everyone just runs the 8K, and so I ran 25:53 this past week, and I broke the school record set by Chris Reed a couple of years ago in 2015.
COVID may have taken a season away from these athletes, but I'd say they're doing a great job at making up for lost time.
I think everyone on the team did really well this weekend. If you look at the times that everyone had run and the PRs they had run, everyone was PRing significantly, and I think that just goes to show how the work we've been putting in and how the training that we've been doing is starting to pay off.
For Chapman News, this is Anna Montemore.
Hart will compete this weekend in the cross-country championships, and Keefe will play a big game against Pomona-Pitzer this Saturday. And here's a fun kicker for you. Literally, Cristiano Ronaldo announced him and his wife are expecting twins. The happy parents of 4 are expecting to make it 6 sometime in 2022. That's all I have for this week of the Best Campus Sports Show. I'm David Rontaler. Now to Kiana Favela for Entertainment Report.
Thanks, David. So it looks like the Tiger King is back. I'll tell you all about the upcoming series and everything else Hollywood when we come back.
I adopted Bento in 2010 from a shelter. As it turns out, we have very similar personalities. And this cat makes me make art because he's always motivating me to take pictures of him, to draw pictures of him. He just is motivating artistically. It's just that simple. Well, he's my best friend, but a lot of people know him as Keyboard Cat.
Hey guys, I'm Kiana Favela, here to keep you all updated on the latest Hollywood buzz. Zayn Malik has been charged with 4 counts of harassment. The singer is accused of shoving Gigi Hadid's mother against a dresser. The former One Direction star pleaded no contest to the charges, meaning he accepts the punishment but refuses to admit guilt. Malik was sentenced to 90 days of probation on each count, totaling nearly a year. He must also complete anger management. Zayn and Gigi are no longer together, but they do share a 1-year-old daughter named Kai. And on to a wild release. Joe Exotic may be in jail for 2 decades, but that did not get in the way of a new season of Tiger King. The season 2 trailer was just released and it's promising mayhem, madness, and new secrets revealed. The new season will pick up with Joe Exotic in jail after he was convicted of attempted murder for hire against his co-star Carol Baskin. We're also getting a deeper look into the mysterious death of Baskin's husband. I don't know about you all, but I am so excited to binge Tiger King 2 and catch up on all the new bizarre secrets. And here in Orange County, thousands of film fans were in Newport Beach this week to celebrate the return of the Newport Beach Film Festival. The event ended last night with a sold-out viewing of War on the Diamond. The documentary follows the story of Ray Chapman, a Cleveland Indians baseball star, who was killed after being hit by a pitch thrown by New York Yankees star Carl Mays. It features never-before-heard interviews of Carl Mays, baseball insiders, and more. The documentarians claim that it was this fatal pitch that caused the 100-year rivalry between the two teams. And finally, we have an update on the Dave Chappelle controversy. The comedian posted a 5-minute video on his Instagram addressing concerns over his new comedy special, The Closer.
It's been said in the press that I was invited to speak to the transgender employees at Netflix, and I refuse. That is not true. If they had invited me, I would have accepted it, although I am confused about what we are speaking about.
Chappelle says the media is to blame for the controversy and that he will not bend to anyone's commands. I'm Kiana Favela. That's all we have for this week, but I'll be back next week to keep you all updated on the latest in Hollywood.
Halloween is being celebrated on college campuses across the nation. But how can students stay safe during this spooky weekend? Dr. Danny Smith, the Director of Proactive Education, says there are a few things college students need to know before partaking in this wild weekend.
This is not victim blaming. I just want to point out vulnerability and opportunity. Go with people who you know and you trust. Know your limits and understand that getting stupid drunk is not attractive. If you're driving, do not drive while you're drinking. And if something feels sketch, it probably is. Be safe. I want you to have fun, but be safe.
Danny Smith also wanted to remind students to step in when they see inappropriate behavior to help their community stay safe. Make sure you're wearing a mask, social distancing, and if you are sick, just stay home.
Chapman University is known for its mix of new buildings, like the Keck Center, old buildings that need to meet the wrecking ball, like Hashinger, or buildings haunted by ghosts, like Wilkinson Hall. And given it's Halloween, we decided to take a closer look at that last one. Emma Sexton and Taylor Sato took a deep dive into Wilkinson Hall.
Hundreds of students walk through the halls of Wilkinson Building every day, and most don't know that it's over 100 years old. Before Wilkinson housed the economics department, it was actually the original City of Orange High School. It has of course been remodeled, but the foundation remains the same as it was in 1904. However, the history isn't the only interesting thing about Wilkinson Hall. Many professors believe the building is haunted.
When people walked up, it's the east staircase, they would invariably feel, well, invariably might be overstating it a little bit, but many people felt as though their heel was being grabbed. And and it was multiple people who reported this.
We decided that the only way to find out if Chapman has a resident ghost at Wilkinson is to do a little Chapman News ghost hunting.
Taylor and I have our blankets, and we're ready to get to the bottom of this.
We are now in Wilkinson Building. We are the only people here. It is late at night.
I think the ghosts are amongst us.
I don't want to go down.
I feel their presence.
Oh, you pressed the...
Oh.
Bad vibe. Ghost vibe in here.
Check it out. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I did hear that.
Get out of this.
While there isn't any physical evidence of a ghost in Wilkinson, I highly suggest getting out of here before 11 p.m.
Happy Halloween and stay safe, Panthers. For Chapman News, I'm Emma Sexton.
I'm Taylor Sato. Back to you guys at the desk.
Whew, good thing I have no more classes in that building.
I have one right after this. Wish me luck.
You'll be fine. So I hope.
Well, that's all the time we have for this week. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page at chapmannews.tv and follow our social media at Chapman News. I'm Danielle Burke-North.
And I'm Promise Johnson. Have a happy Halloween, and we'll see you next week, same time, same place.